This is why your family's always number one, eh? Thanks for tuning in to 96.5, The Family Show with Liam and Robbie this morning. If you ever are worried about your kids online, and we all do, the word trolling may not mean much to you, but it could be what your child's going through every day. Or they could be the one doing the trolling. Rashenda Vermeulen from Integrity Agency joins us today. It's just become illegal in New Zealand to do nasty things online. Will we see those laws pass here, do you think, Rashenda? I mean, you can't just go around calling people names left, right and centre. And online, you can do whatever you like. It's a bit weird.
It is a bit weird. And trolling is something that you heard your kids talk about. It is, in essence, the act of using your words to upset people online. So starting arguments, saying horrible or mean or nasty things. New Zealand, as you said, has just made it illegal. I think you have a fine of up to $50,000 if your behaviour is found to cause serious emotional distress.
I mean, would there be an argument, and I don't really believe this, but just to play devil's advocate, that pre-internet, and let's relate this to children, that's what would have happened in the playground or in the schoolyard anyway. Kids are going to insult each other, have a go at each other, have arguments and discussions. There's going to be clique groups, and all the things that happen online would happen in a natural environment as well. So what's the problem?
Yeah, absolutely. It is exacerbated now by the anonymity that social networks get. So often, you won't see trolling as much on platforms like Facebook because it has to be linked to who you are. There's a bit more of like a public record of you, but it's the areas that have more high trolling are areas like YouTube or Twitter or Reddit, platforms where you can be completely anonymous. So it's kind of like being that child or the schoolyard bully, but you're wearing a mask, so nobody can see what you're doing or saying. So often that mask can bring out just the worst parts of a person in a way that they feel that there are no repercussions to that.
Well, how do you navigate your way through it? Your child's, being trolled, or even worse, your child's doing the trolling. What do you do as a parent to stop it? Because once it's out there, isn't it out there? Like, it's very hard to control.
It is very hard to control, and I guess like all things, it does come back to being comfortable with your children, having good conversations with them and a good relationship with them. I think first starting with like understanding what trolling is, doing a little bit of online research about it, maybe even ask yourself if you are a troll. It sounds silly to say that, but often, the way that we talk to each other or the way that we treat each other online or speak to a brand, we can forget that there's someone else on the other side of that, and we can be being a bully online. We don't even realise it. So obviously check your own behaviour and see, the way that you interact online, is that the same way you would to someone face to face. And then I'd go to your child and talk to them about it. So thinking about both what you found out and your own behaviour, talk about the repercussions of that. They may be doing trolling without really thinking about, how that might hurt someone else. Or that someone else might even hurt themselves because of it. If they are a victim of trolling, then it's a matter of first getting them to speak about it and then looking at some support networks online, or looking at, how do you limit their amount of activity, or how do you make sure they're not getting their self-worth from what people are saying about them online. And that's not something that I have an easy answer to. I'm sure your parents on your show have much more advice around that. But it all starts with that, looking at yourself and having that conversation.
Yeah, and I suppose a balanced approach doesn't hurt as well. And again, playing devil's advocate, some people would say, well, the kids need to, toughen up and be able to be a bit resilient to some things. I mean, you wouldn't want kids to be overreacting or over-sensitive to what's online from an anonymous person.
Absolutely. That shouldn't be where they draw their purpose or meaning from, right? It's just someone's comments. And, I mean, if they're being harassed continually, that's something else. And that's actually something you could be calling the police about, because it could be someone at their school. But, if it's a mean or cruel comment, I mean, I've had blog posts go out that I've written which have some nasty comments on it. But I know that at the end of the day, what that person is saying doesn't reflect who I am and what I like about myself.
In some ways, it needs to be water off a duck's back sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely, within reason.
Good opportunity to bunker down too, as a family. You know, when the internet's giving you grief, turn off the computers, sit around, have a family conversation, go to a park, and just surround yourself with those that actually do love and want to spend time with you.
Absolutely. I mean, it just goes to show how much those positive, affirming words that we give our children or family members mean in a world where you're not always going to get that.
Yeah, Robbie and I've been trolled on Facebook many times, and we're like, well, when we catch you, we come and say that to our faces.
Is that hurtful for you?
I don't think it is, Robbie.
How do you feel about it?
We just bunker down together. We're like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, and we laugh.
When we think trolls, we're like me and Robbie under a bridge looking up at someone saying, come down, come here, I'm going to eat you. That's troll. Don't get us on a hungry day, you'll be in trouble. Rashenda Vermeulen from Integrity Agency. On a serious note, how to navigate your way through trolling. It's out there and it's what's the word? It's unregulated at the moment, so it's a very dangerous place for kids to be. Thank you, Rashenda. Let's talk soon, hey?
Thanks, guys.
Talk to you then. We're families always. Number 1 here at 96.5.